John Franklin Candy was born on October 31, 1950, in Newmarket, Ontario, a small town just outside of Toronto. Growing up in a working-class Catholic family, Candy's early years were shaped by both love and loss. His father, Sidney James Candy, passed away from a heart attack when John was just 5 years old. This devastating loss had a profound impact on him, instilling a sense of responsibility and a need to provide for his family at a young age. Despite the hardships, Candy's childhood was filled with moments of joy and laughter, often centered around his family and friends. He found solace in making others laugh, discovering early on that humor could be a powerful tool for connection. Candy's comedic instincts were honed in the classrooms and playgrounds of Neil McNeil Catholic High School, where he became known as the class clown, always ready with a quick joke or a funny impersonation. After high school, Candy briefly attended Centennial College to study journalism, but his heart was set on performing. He transferred to McMaster University in Hamilton, Ontario, where he joined the drama program. It was here that Candy began to seriously consider a career in acting. His time at McMaster allowed him to explore his craft, and he quickly realized that comedy was his true calling. John Candy's first big break came in 1976 when he joined the cast of Second City Television, SCTV, a sketch comedy show that was produced in Toronto and broadcast across Canada. SCTV was the Canadian counterpart to the United States Saturday Night Live and became a breeding ground for some of the most talented comedians of the time, including Eugene Levy, Catherine O'Hara, and Rick Moranis. On SCTV, Candy's talent shone brightly. His ability to create memorable characters, coupled with his impeccable timing and physical comedy, quickly made him a fan favorite. Among his many memorable characters were the bombastic TV host Johnny LaRue, the lovable curmudgeon Mayor Tommy Shanks, and the hilariously inept security guard, Guy Caballero. Candy's characters were often larger than life, yet he managed to imbue them with a sense of authenticity and humanity that made them relatable. One of Candy's most iconic characters on SCTV was Yoshmich, one half of the polka-playing duo the Happy Wanderers, alongside Eugene Levy's character Stan Schmich. The Schmich brothers became so popular that they eventually starred in their own television special, The Last Polka, 1985, which parodied rockumentaries like This Is Spinal Tap. Candy's work on SCTV earned him critical acclaim and set the stage for his transition to Hollywood. His success on the show also established him as one of the leading figures in the world of comedy, with a unique ability to mix slapstick humor with subtle, character-driven comedy. By the late 1970s, John Candy had made a name for himself in Canada, and Hollywood was starting to take notice. His first significant film role came in 1979 with Steven Spielberg's comedy 1941. Although the film was not a major success, Candy's performance stood out, and it opened the door to more opportunities in American cinema. Candy's big break in Hollywood came in 1980 with the film The Blues Brothers, where he played Burton Mercer, a cheerful parole officer who relentlessly pursues Jake and Al Wood blues. The film was a commercial success and showcased Candy's ability to hold his own alongside comedy heavyweights like John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd. Following the success of The Blues Brothers, Candy appeared in a series of supporting roles in popular films such as Stripes, 1981, and National Lampoon's Vacation, 1983. In these roles, Candy consistently stole scenes with his unique brand of humor, a mix of physical comedy and endearing vulnerability. Audiences couldn't help but root for him, whether he was playing a bumbling security guard or a lovable loser. It was in 1984, however, that Candy truly became a star. He co-starred with Tom Hanks in the romantic comedy Splash, playing Freddie Bauer, the charming but womanizing brother of Hank's character. Splash was a massive hit, and Candy's performance earned him widespread praise. It was clear that Candy was more than just a supporting actor, he had the charisma and talent to carry a film on his own. John Candy's collaboration with writer-director John Hughes in the late 1980s would result in some of the most iconic roles of his career. Hughes, known for his ability to craft heartfelt, character-driven comedies, saw in Candy a unique talent that could bring both humor and heart to his films. Their first major collaboration was in the 1987 film Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. The movie, which follows the misadventures of two strangers trying to get home for Thanksgiving, paired Candy with Steve Martin in what would become one of the most beloved comedies of all time. Candy's portrayal of Del Griffith, a sweet but overbearing shower curtain ring salesman, was a masterclass in blending comedy with pathos. Del was a character who, on the surface, was annoying and socially awkward, but Candy infused him with such warmth and humanity that audiences couldn't help but fall in love with him. Planes, Trains and Automobiles was a critical and commercial success, and it solidified Candy's place as one of Hollywood's leading comedic actors. His ability to make audiences laugh while also tugging at their heartstrings was unmatched, and it set the stage for more collaborations with Hughes. In 1988, Candy starred in The Great Outdoors, another Hughes-penned comedy, this time opposite Dan Aykroyd. The film was a moderate success, but it was Candy's next role that would become one of his most iconic. In 1989, he starred in Uncle Buck, a comedy about an irresponsible but well-meaning uncle who is left in charge of his brother's children. The film was a box office hit, and Candy's performance as Uncle Buck became one of his most memorable. The character was a perfect fit for Candy, funny, slightly rough around the edges, but ultimately lovable and full of heart. Despite his success on screen, John Candy's personal life was far from perfect. He was known to be a kind, generous, and sensitive man, but he also battled with deep insecurities and a constant struggle with his weight. Candy's size became a defining aspect of his persona, both in his personal life and his career. While he often used his weight as a source of humor, it also led to significant health problems. Candy's weight issues were compounded by a family history of heart disease. His father's early death from a heart attack left a lasting impression on him, and Candy was acutely aware of the potential risks he faced. Throughout his career, he made several attempts to lose weight and improve his health, but the pressures of his career often made it difficult to maintain a healthy lifestyle. In addition to his physical health, Candy also struggled with the pressures of fame. Despite his public persona as a jovial and confident comedian, those close to him knew that Candy was often plagued by self-doubt and anxiety. He was a private person who valued his family life, but the demands of his career frequently kept him away from his wife, Rosemary, and their two children, Jennifer and Christopher. Candy's friends and colleagues have described him as a man who carried the weight of his success heavily, constantly worried about meeting expectations and delivering performances that would please his fans. As the 1990s began, Candy continued to work steadily in film, but he was also becoming increasingly concerned about his health. He was aware that his lifestyle, which included a love for rich food and heavy smoking, was taking a toll on his body. Despite these concerns, Candy remained committed to his work, continuing to take on new roles and projects. In the early 1990s, John Candy began to take on more varied roles, branching out from the comedic characters that had made him famous. He starred in films like JFK, 1991, where he played a shady lawyer, and Only the Lonely, 1991, a romantic comedy in which he portrayed a lonely Chicago cop caring for his overbearing mother. These roles allowed Candy to showcase his range as an actor, proving that he was capable of more than just comedy. Despite his success in these roles, Candy was feeling the strain of his career and his health. In 1993, he took on the role of Orville Sacker in the Western comedy Wagons East, a film that would ultimately be his last. Filming took place in Durango, Mexico, and the grueling conditions of the shoot, combined with Candy's declining health, made the experience particularly challenging for him. On March 4, 1994, after a day of filming, John Candy returned to his hotel room in Durango. He spoke with his assistants and family on the phone before going to bed. Tragically, Candy passed away in his sleep from a heart attack. He was just 43 years old. Candy's death was a profound shock to his fans, colleagues, and the entertainment industry as a whole. It was hard to believe that a man who had brought so much laughter and joy to the world was gone so suddenly and at such a young age. The news of his passing dominated headlines, and tributes poured in from around the world. His funeral, held in Toronto, was attended by many of his friends and colleagues, including his SCTV castmates, who remembered him not only as a brilliant comedian but as a kind and generous friend.